Hello and welcome to today's vlog. It's good to be back. It's kind of weird to film after you haven't in a while, but it's good. I'm glad to be back. So first important news, if you haven't seen on Instagram, I am officially a nutritional therapy practitioner. I know. It is absolutely crazy. I can't believe I'm done. I'm so excited. There's so much I want to say about this, but it's not the focus of the video. But I wanted to let you know because obviously this has been a huge part of my journey, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in this next season as I launch my business as a nutritional therapy practitioner, or NTP for short. I'm still gonna do a lot with YouTube and Instagram and just sharing content that's helpful to you, to your wellness, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, all of the things. And especially now that I am done with the schooling part, I'm ready to get some consistent videos out again. Finals kind of took over my life, but I did really well in them, so that's great. So what I want to do for this video right now, it is about my 3-year anniversary of when I got really sick, and that's what led into my chronic illness, and it's what led me to YouTube. It's what led me to become a nutritional therapy practitioner. And because I've been sharing so much of my story for so long now, there's so many just bits and pieces of it that's just been dispersed across a couple years of YouTube, and there's really not a concise video where I really tell my story. So for my 3-year kind of anniversary, I just wanted to tell you my story, and for those of you who are new, it'll help you know what's going on. And for those of you who have been watching for a while, I'm pretty sure that there's gonna be some information you've never heard before. And the reason I share all of this with you is because I know how so many of you out there are dealing with really similar things, just really awful, debilitating chronic illness. And it's heartbreaking that so many of us, we just feel trapped in it and we don't know that there's a way out. And I am 100% on my way out. And that's what is exciting to me about this 3-year anniversary. It isn't as emotional as the other ones. It actually is really emotional, but it's more emotional because I'm seeing myself come out of it, and I'm seeing where God's leading me to a greater purpose through it. So I'm sharing this to help you who are struggling in your health or wanting to learn about just health and wellness in general, but also I know so many people go through really dark times, and I know part of my mission now is to bring hope to people in dark places. So I hope that my story might be that hope, that encouragement to people as well. So I don't want this to be too long. Let's just get started. About 3 years ago was a really crazy season in my life. So I was about to get married. I was engaged, I was planning the wedding. I honestly wasn't super involved in the planning. Thank you, Mom. She really did so much. But still very stressful time. And to make it even more stressful, I moved from the place I was living and working to my hometown where my husband was now living. Worked out for me. And I moved in with my grandparents, and I started a new job. So it was just a lot of stressful things all at the same time. Engagement, moving, new job. And then since I was getting ready to get married, I decided to go on birth control. And I didn't research a lot. I asked my OBGYN some questions, and she said, this is super low side effects, really not going to cause you any problems at all. This is by far the best option. Here you go. So days after taking birth control, I definitely noticed a significant difference in how I was feeling. It started out where I just noticed that I wasn't doing as well in my workouts. I was struggling to lift as heavy or lift as hard. And then I remember just struggling to walk for very long, just feeling really heavy and just not having it in me to go across the room. It was just such a bizarre feeling, and I thought, like, I guess maybe as a side effect of birth control. I hear people have some weird things happening as their body's adjusting. So I didn't really tell anybody that I was feeling off. Then I had a very stressful day where I was moving all of my stuff into this home, getting ready to get married. And oh my lands, I just remember going up and down stairs over and over again, moving stuff from my apartment, I just knew something was off, and the stress of that day, that really triggered me to feel actually sick. So, you know, whenever you get sick, you expect to get better. So I just thought, you know, I just caught something. So I'm just gonna wait this out and it should go away in a few days. It's funny, I remember having to take a few days off work and just thinking, okay, God, I feel like I already know you're trying to teach me a lesson, taking a few days off work. I was really frustrated because I knew and I realized that I was finding so much worth in what I did. And just the fact that I wasn't able to go to work and do all the things, I just didn't feel like I was really worth much. And life was just a struggle just right there. So I wasn't really getting better. So eventually on my way to work, my grandma convinced me to go to the doctor, stop by urgent care, and I'm like, it's not a big deal, okay, fine, I guess I'll let them test me for strep. I mean, like, yeah, I feel really bad, but I'll be fine. And this random doctor I've never met before, you know, said, I think we should test you for mono. And I just think, absolutely no way, I don't have mono. Well, did the test. 11 days before my wedding, this doctor tells me that I have mono. And this poor doctor, I just lose it. I am just crying, you know. I tell him I'm getting married in 11 days, and he just gives me this awkward little side hug and just kind of pats me and tells me that everything will be okay. So yeah, that wasn't what I wanted to hear all, but it's okay. I still got married. I rested a lot. I had a B12 injection right before my rehearsal dinner, and I sat pretty much all day the day of my wedding, just conserved all my energy so I could get down the aisle. It was still such a beautiful and perfect day. I really am just grateful that I had the strength to make it through. And I still ended up getting to go on my honeymoon. We basically watched Netflix and laid around the whole time. But you know, I did what I could do, and that was just part of our story. So then coming back home from honeymoon, I was so ready to jump into real life being married. I was gonna be the best wife. I was gonna cook and clean and, you know, work really hard at my job. I was in youth ministry at the church and absolutely loved getting to do that. Still had mono, decided to go straight back to work, even though I still felt awful, even though it was a very intense week. At church, it was our build week, where we spend the whole week kind of designing this incredible set in the lobby for a fun summer movie series that we do. It's just so funny to me that I decided to still go to work. And needless to say, none of that really worked out very well for me. And basically, over the next few months, I was just really trying to live my life normally. I didn't want anyone to know that I was struggling. You know, I knew it's just mono can take a while, it'll go away eventually. This happens to a lot of people, but I can kind of power through and I'll rest when I need to, but it's gotta end soon. So kind of what happened is there's certain symptoms of mono that started to go away, so that was encouraging. I'm like, oh, I'm starting to see it better. But then other symptoms didn't go away at all, or certain things actually came up or got worse. So fatigue was awful, so awful. I just could not function. I got inflammation of my lungs. I had horrible pain. I became extremely anxious and depressed for the first time in my life. My team ended up kind of forcing me to take time off to try to heal, and that's really when I experienced depression for the first time. And in the midst of all of that, it was so confusing because, like I said, when you get sick, you expect to get better, but it just wasn't seeming to get better. And I just couldn't help but think, is it gonna get better? I mean, it's supposed to, but why is it getting worse? And that's where all these fears started to come in. Am I dying? Is there something else underlying going on? And I found this holistic practitioner that told me that my liver was really overloaded, and I didn't really know what that means. And she told me that all these functions and systems and organs in my body just were having trouble, and I just didn't understand. And anyways, so during this season of time, I really was just trying to get through, was just trying to endure, was just trying to not just explode. I don't know. was trying to just function normally, and I could not do it. And it is terrifying, and that is what led to the conversation with, you know, some of my leaders about asking the question, would it be better for you to step off the team for a season? And I did not want to do that, but I knew that I needed to. I knew that I was trying way too hard to try to hold it together, I just knew I could barely take care of myself. And I just had to tell myself, I'm taking a break. Who knows, I'll probably be back in like 2 months. I'll be fine. I'm gonna just be really strict with my diet and drink a lot of water and take supplements, and I'll be back. But it still was really scary. It was the hardest life change I ever had to make. I can't even explain to you how much I had to mourn that decision, but I came home and told my husband, this is what I'm gonna have to do, and he was like, finally, you're gonna actually start resting and start healing. It was really encouraging to me in that moment how my husband responded, and he looked at me and he told me that, I know that obviously this is awful, but I'm so excited. I usually don't get this emotional in my YouTube videos. I do in real life, but he told me that he knows that God has an important plan and purpose for this season, and he doesn't know what it is, but he knows something really good is gonna come out of it. And he said, I don't know if that's, you're just supposed to like invest in young girls and mentor them in a different way in this season. I don't know if you're supposed to maybe start a blog or something. Or he said, or maybe start a YouTube channel like you've talked about. And I was just like, pfft. I was totally joking about that. I was making sarcastic jokes about it because I had to take so much time off. I started watching YouTube again, and I kind of thought to myself in the back of my head, I can see myself doing that. I can see myself like being good enough at that where maybe people would be interested in watching. In that moment where I had to leave my job, which was not only like a dream job to me, I wanted to be on staff at my church for the rest of my life. It was planned out. But it wasn't only that, I've talked about this before, it was also like, I'm just losing purpose in general. What is going on? What is wrong with me? I am 20 years old. Maybe I was 21 by then. I'm 21 years old. What am I supposed to do? This isn't supposed to happen. This is not the plan. It's so funny just like being alone in your house, crying, talking to a camera. So I knew things had to change. All of a sudden decided to change from this like short-term vegan kind of diet. It was the Daniel fast. There is a doctor that was like, this is actually really not a good idea for you, which totally agree now. And switched to the bulletproof diet actually. My husband just mentioned it and I ordered the book and I ate some eggs and instantly felt better eating those eggs. And yeah, so it's just interesting. Kind of a side note, I don't think like the bulletproof diet is the only way to eat at all. There's just a lot from that template that you can learn. But that book really did, I think it changed my life in a lot of ways, because all of a sudden I really saw the importance of food as medicine, and so many of the principles in the book just sent me in the right direction. So I changed so much in my life, every aspect of my lifestyle and how I took care of myself and how I ate. But also I knew that my perspective had to change. Like I said, I was just kind of enduring before, just really not wanting anyone to know what was going on, and just tried to kind of fake it till I made it. My whole life I really struggled with vulnerability. I was so terrible at even telling my close friends what I was struggling with, or what even just telling friends my experiences that I had. I just was very, very private. So I didn't make the connection of like using these words till a little bit later, but during this time period, it's really where I shifted from enduring to embracing. And this is just something that I care about sharing with people so much now, because I see so many people who are going through really challenging things, whether it's chronic illness or infertility or depression, anxiety, marital issues, financial issues. The list goes on and on and on of what it can be. But I see people who they are just trying to endure. They're just trying to get through. They're just trying to suffer through life. When, yeah, I don't want suffering to last long either. I am ready for all of my symptoms to be completely gone. But God does something so powerful when you switch from just enduring to embracing and saying, yeah, I don't like being sick. Yeah, this isn't a fun situation, but this is where I'm at right now. And I'm gonna say like, okay, what can I do with this? How can I embrace this? And maybe God can do something cool out of it. And let me tell you guys, spoiler alert, God's done some really cool things for me making that decision. And I've seen it through so many people as well. So I decided to embrace it. And a couple weeks later, couldn't sleep one night and couldn't stop thinking about YouTube. And I don't know, I just thought, I need to try this. I need to just see if this will go anywhere. And I just told myself, okay, when you wake up tomorrow, grab your phone and just film your day. If you like vlogging, then post it. And if you don't, then don't. And so yeah, I vlogged my day, edited it, and very hesitantly tried to upload. Had a lot of problems uploading it. I've never had problems like that uploading in my life except for that very first video. And I was so close to not doing it, but I did. I was terrified, so scared of how people might respond. So yeah, that's the YouTube aspect of it. I started sharing my story. I was not planning to talk about nutrition so much, but I suddenly was. I really cared about it and really liked talking about it a lot. I really wasn't able to do anything else in my life, so I was uploading like 3 videos a week and really instantly started to get really encouraging feedback from people who were enjoying learning about the recipes that I made and why I cooked the way that I did, or people who were also struggling. Then I met all these people who were having the same symptoms as me, and all of a sudden I found this community of people with chronic illness, and I discovered chronic fatigue syndrome, and I just connected, like, this is how I feel, this is what I'm going through. And I realized that I was so far from alone. For a while, you know, you just feel like you're the only one in the world with debilitating fatigue as a young 20-year-old. And I learned that there is a whole lot more of that out there. A lot of autoimmune disease, a lot of chronic illness, a lot of serious health issues. And it was way more common than I thought. So around that time, I ended up getting diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, which is really an umbrella diagnosis for a lot of different symptoms. And I just kind of thought that mono just like ruined me. I didn't really know there was really a lot more underlying things there. So I'll try to speed this part up in the story. I went to the Mayo Clinic. You can see all about that on my YouTube channel, and didn't really learn a lot there. They diagnosed me with chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia. Decided to not go back and do all the appointments they wanted me to do because it was nice to know that there wasn't like anything serious going on, like cancer. Mayo is great at a lot of things, but I don't recommend them for the type of chronic illness I've dealt with or autoimmune issues because that's just not what they do. They're not trained to get to the root of those type of illnesses. So before, after, around Mayo Clinic, I just want to explain really quick how I was feeling. I really was positive to YouTube, to social media, to my friends and family, but at the same time, I just thought maybe I would end up in a wheelchair. I definitely was considering things like handicap parking, and I would see like elderly people at the grocery store on those motorized grocery carts and just think, I can't even explain it. I feel like I need it more than them. I remember just even how hard it would be to lift the covers up to get out of bed. And it's crazy that some people even have chronic fatigue way worse than me. And even just like showering was incredibly hard. I watched one of my old YouTube videos the other day and totally made me emotional because I was talking about having to go to church and the chiropractor and the grocery store, those 3 things all in 1 week. That was all I did that week. And I explained how I did not feel up to doing any of those things. It was very emotional for me to watch now because I'm doing way more than that. Again, spoiler alert, since we're, you know, going through the story. So I just want to say, like, things were really bad. My fatigue was so bad I couldn't walk for 3 minutes without just feeling like I'm gonna fall over. My brain fog was so terrible that I would try to read for 10 minutes and then I would just cry because I couldn't focus. I couldn't retain anything. My brain fog was so bad. I just felt like I was completely losing myself. and pain was terrible, panic attacks, seasons of really bad depression, and yes, it's awful. Then I discovered brain retraining through dynamic neural retraining system, and that was really the first time I finally saw actual progress. For so long, it was just either the same or getting worse. It was so encouraging to start to see shift in symptoms. So really, I focused a lot on that for 6 months. And by the end of the 6 months, I ended up seeing a scalp acupuncturist. And I was really convinced that was gonna help rewire my brain faster. You can watch the whole video on that too, but it ended up being a really challenging week for me because I first saw some progress and then ended up really flaring by the end of it. So yeah, I don't think I even said how hard it was for me in that video, but it was honestly, it's a whole other story, but it was very traumatic. You know, just having to face all those disappointments, and a lot of people were just praying and excited. So finally, after the scalp acupuncture, I finally decided to see this functional medicine practitioner in my area that I had thought about seeing before, but I don't know, I didn't think I had Lyme disease. I didn't think I had mold. All these things people kept bringing up. It's like, oh no, I don't know. I don't know why I didn't go. Finally, it was like, I need to know for sure what is going on. And basically, I saw an amazing functional practitioner named Rob, and he has been the best thing that has happened to my health. Basically did all kinds of functional testing and found out that I had been exposed to mold, and probably I was exposed to mold and other chemical toxins right around the time that I got mono. And also we know that birth control depletes a lot of B vitamins. It can really impair methylation, which is important for detoxification, especially for people with the double MTHFR homozygous C677T gene variation. And I was probably also very toxic before. I did have some health issues before I got really sick, just nowhere near as bad. And I really think there was a significant buildup over time. All of a sudden I realized, wait, you're saying that something way more than mono just affecting my brain has to do with what's going on. So there's so many crazy details to this. It was a very long process, but I found out that I had chronic inflammatory response syndrome due to mold toxicity. I found out that I had very scary levels of chemical toxicity, which a lot of that was probably contributing to so many symptoms and contributing to my mild multiple chemical sensitivity. That was one thing I didn't mention. I was very, and still am, I'm very sensitive to chemicals, fragrances, cleaning products, things like that. Thankfully, it's not debilitating like what some people deal with. And I found out I had some heavy metal toxicity. It wasn't incredibly high, but it definitely was affecting me. Lyme disease was negative, except for one strain. It was equivocal, meaning it wasn't negative or positive. So that's frustrating that there's always a little bit of question there. Lyme is incredibly hard to diagnose. But basically, all of a sudden, I finally was able to start addressing root issues of my illness. So for the last maybe like 6 to 9 months, I'm really not sure. I've been doing a lot of detoxification protocols. I started some low-dose naltrexone, which has really been helpful to me. I'm careful with sharing because it's definitely not for everyone, but if you're interested in that, obviously you should talk to your doctor. Oh, I realized I was borderline hypothyroid, so I started to do some things to address my thyroid. I take a prescription of a thyroid glandular that is, it's natural, but it is a prescription now. And yeah, I started doing saunas and lymph releases and rebounding and dry brushing. And finally, I am heading in the right direction. I have gained so much stamina and energy, and pain has improved. We've been addressing hormonal issues. We think that I'm estrogen dominant. We're still figuring that out. My anxiety has really improved since then. Some inflammation has improved since then. Basically, just the summary of where I'm at right now in my health is just really encouraged. I know even if I were to just continue doing my protocol right now, slowly but surely I would eventually get there, but we're gonna be more aggressive than that. So here in a couple months, I'm not gonna explain all the details yet, but we're gonna be trying some new things in my health that are more on the aggressive side. And I'm just convinced that of the things that we're trying, something has to really work and really give me an extra boost. So I'm really excited and encouraged, and especially encouraged that I made so much progress in my health that I was able to become a nutritionist. I was able to do 9 months of schooling, travel 3 times, and it was just so cool throughout the program, from workshop to workshop, to see my health just continuing to improve. And my finals weekend for my school was the anniversary weekend of when I remember really first starting to feel sick, and it was so emotional because I could see so clearly the purpose in the pain. And you know, I haven't been able to work for 2.5 years. Like I said, that was devastating to me. But here I am now. I'm about to start my own business. I'm not gonna be able to work like crazy full-time hours. I'm gonna have to start very slow and probably just a couple clients a week. But I just can't even explain to you how thankful I am. And I'm just ready. I'm so ready to help other people be well, because I know how hard it is to be able to be all that God's created you to be. And not only that, being so sick, it just sends you into a very dark and scary place. And just for every person in that place, I just need them to know that there is hope and there is answers available. There's healing available. It drives me crazy that people tell so many people who are sick that they're gonna be sick forever, and that is not true. It is not true. So many people deal with what I'm dealing with for years and years and years. Yeah, I'm 3 years in, but I am on my way out. I have made so much progress. And it's still hard. There's still a lot of challenging days. I still get really tired and don't want to leave the house sometimes. I still have weird pains flaring up. But you know, I'm okay with it because I know I'm gonna just have to be patient. But I know that every hard day has a purpose. So I'm sure I missed some important information or things you may have wanted to know. If you have questions, let me know in the comments, and I'd be glad to share. There's definitely many details, of course, that I left out. But so what I want to do to end this video out is something I've never done before on YouTube, and I just want to pray over every one of you who are watching. And I didn't preface this today. As you can tell, I'm a believer. I absolutely love Jesus, and if you don't, you are 100% welcome to watch my videos, of course. Jesus and my faith is everything to me, so obviously I'm going to talk about it. So thank you guys for watching, for sticking around. So excited for what's to come. I have a lot that I want to do, especially when it comes to educating you about nutrition and wellness, coming up soon. But with all that said, let's pray. I'll try not to go too long. Jesus, we love you so much, and I just thank you so much for who you are and for the grace that you give us that we don't deserve. God, I thank you for pain and for suffering. I know that can sound crazy to so many people, but God, I know you work all things together for good. And I know you have a purpose in pain. And I thank you that you are strengthening me and so many other people struggling right now through their trials, through their suffering. God, I know you are working something beautiful through pain right now for so many people. But God, I pray that you would draw our hearts closer to you in the midst of the good times and the bad. God, I pray that you would strengthen us physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. God, I ask that you would give us peace that we can't explain. And God, I just pray for healing. God, I believe that you can miraculously touch and heal. And I ask right now that if it is your will, we believe that you can, and we ask that you do. I ask that you would heal my body and the bodies of those who are listening to this right now. And God, if this isn't your timing, I know you have something more to do. God, I'm so grateful you didn't heal me right away 3 years ago, because you had more to do and teach me in my life. And if this isn't someone's time, I pray you'd give them guidance, wisdom, discernment to figure out the right path to take, God, because we know you've given us answers. And we want to be all that you've called and created us to be. So God, help us be well, whatever that looks like. God, because we know when we are well, then we can love and lead so much better. Because that's my goal, to lead people to become a fully devoted follower of you. So we pray this all in Jesus' name. Amen.